We are here at the Hutchinson house with Barbara Fay. It's nice to see you again.
Well, I am so happy to have you and host you here at the Hutchinson house.
And you look very period decor with the dress.
1870s shop girl is what I'm dressed as.
I actually like that. It looks pretty comfortable. But we're actually going to go inside the house and you're going to show us some things and tell us about some of the stories of the items that you have.
Well, yes, this is the house of Chester and Susanna Hutchinson and their three sons. One of them had a farm in the area, but as you can see, it was built in 1854, and it was one of the first clapboard houses in Waupaca. It was not built here. It was built over on Franklin Street, corner of Franklin and Fulton, and moved here in the 1950s.
Okay, so you're gonna show us how the Ediphone works, correct? And this is named after Etta's son,
Yes.
correct?
Thomas Elva himself. And the first recordings were made on wax cylinders like this, and they were incised this way. So the Ediphone had a large horn so it could be heard, and you had to wind it up. Oh. Oh dear. Oh, I was winding this the other day and it went crack.
Let's go get Mr. Edison.
Let's see, yeah, really. Let's see if we can, okay. So after you wind it up, there's a little pin here that fits on this tray, and so you don't put the music down right away. Oh. Actually,
That's really special, actually.
this is where the sounds come out.
Yeah, we can hear it out of there. The beginning of the stereos.
Yes. So this is what they used before they had then they at some point decided you take this and you squash it flat and have the incisions this way and the records. So the records were the next iteration there.
We're in the kitchen, and this is actually a refrigerator.
Yes, Joni, would you like a nice cup of lemonade?
Yes, I would.
Well, unfortunately, we can't get you one from here, but I can show you what they would do from here. This is Zimmerman's rotary paper refrigerator. And it's not where they kept their paper, but I'm sure as I was growing up, my mom, if she wanted something hot on a picnic or cold, it was wrapped in paper till we got there. Paper's a good insulator. So this was insulated all around, quite thick with paper. Now the ice box was up here. The ice cube would have been put up here. And there's a metal plate. A hose brought the melting water down to the bottom, and you had to empty out your little tray. But then the unique part of this refrigerator is this is how it gets the rotary part of its name. And these are Lazy Susans, which would turn around so you could get the items that were at the back of your refrigerator.
Which is something we all need today so that we don't have to move everything else in the refrigerator. So this is actually an original ice box.
Yes, this is from 1881, but it was called a refrigerator. It was called a refrigerator. And they didn't tack up pictures, but they painted lovely pictures on the refrigerator.
I have never seen anything like that. That is absolutely wonderful. So right now we're talking about stereopticons.
That's
Did
correct.
I do that
That's
correct?
The Victorians loved to find out about exotic places and to travel. So many of the pictures, this was an entertainment. They didn't have movies, they didn't have TV. So stereo, there's two like our eyes. And you see it three-dimensionally. So you look into it, and you adjust this to see where this is individually. And they would take pictures, photographs, have a photograph of their children on either side, the same picture. You use the same picture twice and send them to their relatives. They could see it. It almost looked 3D, like they could be there.
And I saw those, and it really is a 3D effect.
It
so
is.
Very early 3D glasses. That's
Yes,
pretty cool.
And it was the precursor of the
3D
Viewmaster.
Oh, the Viewmaster.
Okay, here
I
we
had
go.
one of those when I was a kid.
It was the precursor of the Viewmaster, which you would click. And this was a couple generations before the Viewmaster was my generation, and now we've got iPads and iPods and all of that kind of thing. Glasses that just show you 3D.
Okay, we're in the woodshed and we have shovels.
We have shovels made completely out of a single piece of wood. I think they are actually beautiful items, but when you think of it, they had to clear all the land, so they had a lot of things made out of wood, besides dishes and big bowls and shovels and things like that, and also a lot of their equipment for farming.
Okay, so when I first walked in here, you asked me to guess what this was, and you told me I was going to be wrong right off the bat. So I want you to tell us a little bit about what this particular piece of furniture is, because it's really neat.
Okay, this would be in one of the public rooms. The greeting room that we're in is one of the public rooms, but it is something that belongs in a private room, so they would want to disguise it. Looks like it could be a chest of drawers. It is actually a folding cabinet bed, and this opens up. The cabinet opens here. There are large hooks that you have to unhook to be able to open the bed up. And as you'll notice on the sides are not solid. There's a split right down the side, and there are gears there. The sides come down to be the bed. This moves all the way forward and becomes the foot of the bed, which allows the top here to fall down flat, so they would have a nice extra bed, because maybe the visitor couldn't stay in a hotel, maybe there wasn't a hotel, so they wanted to be able to have people who came to visit have a comfortable bed.
What a great way to have it disguised so it can be out, but you always have extra room for families or friends that are staying the night.
Patent for the sensible sad iron. I always called it the sensible sad iron. Now sad meant solid. So when they were solid iron, the handle was iron and everything. You had to have a towel or something because you couldn't pick this up from the stove. So they were always thinking, how could we make this more convenient? So it was a woman who came up with the idea. Her name is Mrs. Potts. Got the patent on if you had a wooden handle, we were talking about wood, good non-conductor. So she made a handle that could be clipped onto a iron base, and her set, you would get 2 irons, a handle, and a little holder for it. And so you could have one on the stove, and you'd be ironing with one. You'd bring that, just plunk it down, pick up the other one, and off you'd go.
That way you could keep ironing. What a great idea.
Yes, keep ironing. And this lovely little item is a ruffler. Again, it would be heated here. This would have, you'd have to have a towel or something. This would be heated on the stove, on the stove, and then you would take this part and make your ruffle.
On clothing.
On like cuffs, collars.
Oh, you'd iron in a ruffle. How about that?
So a nice feature we have in the kitchen here is when they made the house, this door opens. It's the wall between the kitchen and the dining room. But when you open it, there
I am.
is. You can see right through to the dining room, and she could get the dishes from the other side for setting the table.
You wouldn't have to carry them all the way out of the kitchen.
Yeah, how far would that be?
What a great idea. Okay, tell us about this wonderful picture.
Well, this is a memorial painting, and unfortunately it is of a little 10-year-old girl who died, Beth Parrish. But memorial portraits were very popular back then, and they are made, you get this dull, very muted look by having graphite on velvet. It's on velvet fabric. But you can tell the family was very wealthy from all of the size of the frame. This is all pressed wood, gilt, and then velvet. So Beth was a very well-loved little child.
And died at 11 and a half years old from brain fever, which is what the sign says.
Yes, yep, and very well, greatly missed.
That is a beautiful, beautiful painting.
Now, I had mentioned that we do have a lot of different families who have contributed things to the house here. And this is one of the things I'd like to point out. This painting of Indian Crossing was by Jenny Truesdell, whose mom had been, she had been a Brown, her mother had been a Parrish, And so Hannah Parrish married E.L. Brown, and they had Jenny, who married Mr. Truesdell. Those are three families that are prominent in things that they have given us, prominent in the development of Waupaca. And this illustrates what fine young ladies could do in about 1900. They learned how to paint. They learned how to paint on many different things, and this is one of Jenny's paintings.
And one of the things that we've talked about with this house is that you really say this is the house of Waupaca, because although it was built by the Hutchinsons, it really is all of because the Hutchinsons weren't the last people that lived here. This really was a gathering of antiques from lots of different families, right?
Yes, yes, it was. There were so many early families. The Hutchinsons and the Sessions and the Parrish families were all related in some way. What would happen for the whole country as it was developed was people would move from the East Coast somewhere west, and people would then write back to their families at home and say, it's really going to be a going town. To the men, they would say, jobs. There's going to be a lot of jobs. Of course, in Wisconsin, that meant logging, that meant trapping, that meant agriculture, and of course, you'd have to have cities, so merchants, lawyers, everything. To the ladies, they would say, move west. A lot of young men find a good husband. So that's how they kind of populated the country as they went across. Those families were related. The other early families were the Lords, the Ware family, and we have things from each of these families. I'm going through in my head. Mumbrew family, then there were the Anderson, Peterson, Halverson, all of the Norwegian and Danish families. So we have something from just a lot of the families, early families.
You have just beautiful, I was wandering around here just a little bit, you have some beautiful clothing, vintage clothing, you have a phone, you have some great furniture, you just have lots of wonderful things here.
Well, the things we have are often very individual. Many historians who have come to visit the house said, oh, you have something that, we don't see very often. The round refrigerator in the kitchen, it's a rotary refrigerator, has a Lazy Susan in it. We'll look at that, but so that...
I need one of those.
Yes, get the things from the back of the refrigerator. And it has beautiful paintings on the front. But we have quilts. We have so many quilts that are just lovely. We have the furnishings of, the hall tree that, of course, they would have in any upstanding home. We have so many dishes and things from the kitchen gadgets. We have things in our woodshed which were used on farms, in breweries, all over. And then, of course, we have things that were furnishings. We have just all kinds of furnishings. And this is a wonderful house. People are surprised at how large it is when they come in. And often they'll say, well, we can visit for 20 minutes. We usually ask them how long they have to spend. And, an hour later, they'll still be going, no, we can still look. This is interesting. There's still more, but yeah. We do have 11 rooms here, so it is big. It may look small from the outside, but it's quite large inside.
So, okay, now we all want to see it. So how do we go about, what are the hours? How can we come in and see this wonderful place?
Well, we are open from Memorial Day through Labor Day on Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 4. And you can come right to our greeting room. We have volunteer docents who are here to greet you and to help you see around the house different things that might be of interest to you. And so we're open all summer. Now, if you have relatives who come in the summer, please bring them. If they happen to come in April, May, September, October, give us a call. And if we can set up a tour, we'd be happy to set up a tour because we'd like as many people to see this as possible. It is something you will not see anywhere else in the world. This is Waupaca's historical house.